Welcome back to The Ether, the show that disrupts the way you think about running your business. Join me, Brandon, and my co-host, Sean Delaney, the creator of What If, on today's episode. Our goal is to provide context around what we talk about so you have the clarity to cut through the noise and the confidence to grow and run a truly harmonious business. Let's jump in and take the next step to achieving business freedom. We are back with more business freedom. Oh, today we're talking about freedom. This is exciting. This is the one that everybody loves to talk about, but nobody has.
They do. Serenity, time management, as some people would call it. We don't call it that. Some people do. It's a big deal, and it seems to seep into everything else. And so you have to really unpack it when they come to us and saying, well, I want more time. Right? Because we know that when we say, oh, okay, you want more time so you can go home and be with your family. And people say, oh my God, no, those people I can't stand them. I don't want, I want more time here. Well, do you want more time there? Because it seems pretty difficult. Oh, so you're really talking about an operational issue. And some people really do want time somewhere else. Or they say there's not, everything I'm doing is great, but there's not enough hours in the day. Well, that means it's a capacity issue. Lots of ways to unpack time, but it is one of the 4 buckets of issues that every entrepreneur struggles with. You say, what are the 4? They spell the acronym FEAR. We won't tell you the other 3 today. You got to listen to another show for that. But this is the A in FEAR, which is the allocation of time. And as we said, it's kind of an amorphous one to get your hands around. Sometimes it's not really time that we're talking about. So let's dig in, Brandon.
Let's do it. So we're talking how to reclaim your time and be a true business owner in 90 days. Can we promise that completely on this episode? No. But if you're watching, it's on the screen, whatif.com/clarity. We will do exactly that. But what we want to give you here is we mentioned the word serenity. So the discipline of serenity is we're going to show you the 5 questions to ask to identify at least where you are right now in terms of your air quotes time management, your calendar management, showing up in your time, and how you control your time. So we'll give you the foundation. And then the next step is, like I said, whatif.com/clarity. But Sean, let's go to the bad. We're going to go back to the bad.
Let's go to the bad. It all starts at the bad.
It all starts with
bad to go to be good. And so as you're pulling up the questions here for us, let's just talk about for a second why we call it serenity. So time management, you don't manage time any more than the person navigating down a river on a kayak manages the river. You don't manage the river. It moves. It is its own thing. Some people argue if it even exists. Really, it's just we're noticing that change is happening. That's what time is. Things are changing. If nothing changed at all, time wouldn't exist. So it is the feeling of change, the sensation of it. That's why sometimes people go, oh, that meeting was so long. It was 30 minutes. Oh, it felt like a lifetime. Versus, wow, that flew by. Well, it was an hour and a half. Didn't feel like it. Sure, because there are clocks and how they work, and then there is our experience of time. So that is the experience of change. Great. And so you don't manage time, you allocate it. Where will I spend this thing that I cannot really control the stoppage of? It is going to flow, and how do I allocate it? And am I spending time in a lot of things that are draining me and not moving us forward in the mission? Or am I hyper-focused and every activity is worth 10 because I know exactly what I should be doing? And if you know exactly what you should be doing, it doesn't matter how, if you know this is where I am and I have nowhere else to go, and I am watching a children's musical on stage at the school, and the instruments are out of tune, and the voices are cracking, and people are forgetting lines, and you're sitting there, and you might say, you remember. But if this is where you know you are and you're enjoying for what it is, you're calm. It's fine. If you're in an airport and you have there's no meeting on the other end that you're going to miss, you have to get there on time. You're just going home after a vacation and everything's chill. You're relaxed with those delays in the airport. You're serene because this is where I am. I have allocated my time. This is where I should be. And so that's what we're looking for. So there could be hundreds of things going on in your business, yet you are chill. That's what people say when they go, my time management is I need help managing my time. What you're saying is there is some disharmony in your business, in your life, that is causing you to be frantically hoping for a slower pace of change of some kind. That makes sense?
It makes sense to me. This is one of my favorite areas to cover with
Yeah.
people when we do bad reviews, because you can see their level of stress just heighten as soon as we start talking about these questions. Because most people, they come to us because they want more time, or they want more freedom, or they want to be a true business owner
But they don't,
in 90
they
days.
almost, but see, they never want time. What does it mean to have
Yeah.
time? What does it mean? It means
They want to have control of their time.
right. It's the same kind of thing when they say, when I want money. I go, what do you mean you want money? Well, I want money, more money. To do what? Where? It. Right. Oh, well, I want to do this and this. So that's the outcome you want. So money is just the proxy for it. So you say, well, I need more time, more time. No, there is no such thing. I can't give you more time. I can just tell you where to be and how to apply yourself so that you are spending less time. Well, first of all, eliminating the things that you shouldn't be doing at all, spending less time on the things that are a grind, are a detractor, are a heavy lift, and spend more times on the things that if you do this once, it's worth 10 of the other things. How to use leverage of understanding the dynamics that are in your business. That. And then, yes, Brandon, when everything calms down and they go, this is all I have to be doing, that's all you have to be doing. What do I do with the rest of that time? What was it that you were aching for, that you said, I want more time to do what? Effectuate a change? Well, have a business that runs well. Well, good luck. We already did that to you. Now you have even more time. What do you want to do with that? Oh, start a new business that runs like this one? Sure. Let's start 6. Okay. So
this begs the question, do we have a system for managing our time? We are at question number 1. So talk to me about this question, because Sean, yes, I'm looking at it. I have a clock on my computer. I have a phone with a clock on it. I mean, obviously I have a system. It's a clock.
I have a system. I have Google Calendar. Okay. And what's on it? Everything. Let me see it. And just spaghetti at a wall. Stuff all over the place. Triple booked. And things jammed into weird places. I'm great at multitasking. Bullshit. There is no such thing. You're just hyper switching is what you're doing. You're never doing 2 things at once. I'm walking and chewing gum. Okay. You're not. You're context switching very fast, and it's slowing you down, and it's causing more grind. So your calendar is a mess. This is no system. Having a calendar is not a system. How do the things get on there? My system puts them on there. How does she determine what gets on there? I don't know. If my phone rings, I answer it. That's my system. I'm here, I'm sitting here, and I work, and then my phone rings and I answer it. That's my system. That's not a system either. How are you thinking about the things that are going on that calendar? How are you thinking about the ways in which you gatekeep your own time, your little hoard of it, because it is going to be depleted today. You cannot save it. So where am I going to allocate it? To the maximum leverage towards achieving our vision. Until you do all that work, I don't know that you have a system. So that's the first thing. So if they say, I got nothing, great. At least we've acknowledged that. If they say, I do, then we want to see, is it just really tools and templates and processes that don't really get them somewhere smart? And then third, that's nirvana, when they say, yes, this is exactly, I put everything through this first whole lens in order to determine what gets on my calendar. Love it when that happens. That never happens. So, okay, next
Even
question.
for the people that rate that a 10 on their answers, no, it's usually I have a calendar and I don't let anybody schedule a meeting within 3 hours of the current time. They know that is not what we're talking about as a system for managing your time. But anyway, speaking of calendars, question 2. Do we manage our calendars? And then this is my favorite part, in parentheses, or do they manage us?
Yeah, because I have that question changed over time because it was something more around are we living by our calendar? And they were like, yes. Oh, I live by my calendar. And
Mm.
then I realized, okay, I'm asking the wrong question because I'd have to then unpack that and go, wait, do you mean that you control it and therefore life can't get to you unless it comes through the calendar? Or are you really living by your calendar? Yeah, but my calendar says that I do it. You're a slave to the calendar? Well, I wouldn't say I'm a slave to it. You live by, yes, you work for your calendar. How do things get on it? Oh, well, I have access to it. My husband has access to it, and my assistant has access to it. And people are just throwing stuff on there. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. But hey, look, if you can get space on my calendar, talk to my assistant, see if you can get space on my calendar. Oh, well, you're abdicating that to somebody else, to the person who wants to take your time. You're going to have them go and talk to somebody else to try to get on your calendar. That's terrible. Or, well, pick one of these times on the scheduler. Go to my scheduler and find a time. Now, let's work this out and decide together because things change. Energy is dynamic and flowing, and maybe you're not at your best at that time for that particular thing that you're doing. And so we need to have a little more thought before this. So because otherwise, then the calendar is running you. You're saying you live by it. It's just a unthinking placeholder that follows you around. It's a pile of sticky notes that go with you to the grocery store to tell you what to do next. Oh, well, now I got to pick the kids up from soccer. That is not using your calendar as much as that calendar then is using you. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that I was very proactive about in terms of these first two questions really was because I used to just have an open calendar and I was like, oh, cool. If people want to meet, like, yeah, share your scheduling link, whatever. And that's fantastic. What I have switched to doing, it's been about I think a year or so at this point. I noticed that I'm not good at, you mentioned before, context switching or hyper switching, and nobody is, quite frankly. So that idea is just throw it out the window. Anyway,
even if you're great at it, that's like saying I've perfected smoking cigarettes on a break. Like,
yeah, like it's
takes
not
me,
good for you. So
it only
don't
takes me 10 minutes as
do
opposed
it.
to everybody else. Yeah, that's not a good improvement. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I just like the
So
whole pack and suck it in at once. It's so much more efficient. I don't think this is how we should change this process. Anyway.
exactly. So we don't want to do that. So I noticed though that actually it made me less effective on the activities that were after the switching, and compounding that throughout the day just led to a disaster. So I said, okay, what's best for me? So I leveraged my own personal unique makeup, which PS, we have a tool to do that. If you want to learn more about who you are and what drives you, please reach out to us. We can help you with that as well. Be more productive. But I said, okay, there are certain days of the week that I will allocate to certain activities. For example, Tuesdays, you have heard us mention my podcast, Harmonious at Lunch. I only record and produce podcasts on Tuesdays, meaning that the rest of the week, I'm free to not think about that. Wednesdays and Thursdays are reserved for clients. Fridays are a little bit more unstructured because they're just very loose. But then I have Mondays broken up into morning blocks and afternoon blocks. And this step further, and here's where our calendars, I manage my calendar, it doesn't manage me. I do share scheduling links with people, but I have, I think, 7 or 8 different options of links. So depending on what context I'm meeting you in, Sean, if I want to have a virtual coffee with you, I will send you my virtual coffee link, and it's only available during very select times throughout the week, so that I've already controlled that there will be no context switching on my time, on my calendar. I can stay hyper focused to clients, to coffee chats, to podcasts. I even have time for guesting on podcasts. So just breaking out my week and saying, okay, here's where I operate best to be a guest, to be a host, to serve clients. Everybody gets the best of me because I've controlled my calendar and I know how to show up well in advance of the week even starting. It's very powerful.
And what I hear there is a system, and a good one, because it's optimized around who you are at your best. So it's strategic, but based on data. So you have the diagnostic and you know exactly who you are, what your energy levels are during the day, and what things should fit where. and then you have set up ways in which your calendar is blocked to channel the people looking for you, the people trying to get your time because they want the best of you, and they're now put in the right channel to get you at the right time. I would say, well done. So that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on. There's a fun tip from this episode for you. But our
tip.
work days feel productive, focused, and in control. These, I got to tell you, these are my favorite questions when there's 3 parts, when it's focused, productive, and in control. Because someone could say yes to any one of those, but then you start compounding them and they're like, oh, I don't know if I have all 3. I don't like this question.
Hence why it is written
Yeah,
that
no.
way, because you could tell. I didn't write it that way. I don't think the first time. These changed over the 20-something years that we've been using it. Because it is the coming together of all of those things. Oh, I'm focused. Yeah, you know who's focused? When you'll see how real focused you get when a pan of oil on a stovetop catches fire and the flames are trickling up the wall and you get that fire extinguisher, you get real focused. So you can get very focused on things that are in crisis mode.
Definitely not in control in that situation.
You're not in control. You're barely in control. And what was the third? It was
productive.
Productive. I mean, you may be in control, but really not productive yet because you haven't figured out how to. You're still reading the instructions on the side of the thing. Pull pin. What pin? I should have got my someone get my reading glasses. I can't see. The flames are going crazy. So it is the coming together of all 3 of those because yes, you could be a yes on one and be killing yourself in the other 2.
Yeah. Well, the other thing with productive too, kind of the caveat of productive is you could be productive, but towards what end? I mean, that's where, are you just like sending emails? Like I sent 30 emails today. They made me no money, but I was productive. I sent them.
So productive. Just producing bad widgets all day. These things are broken on one side, right? Yeah, but we tripled production today because we didn't stop to fix it. We just revved it higher. We had a lot of bad widgets. So yes, man. So productive is different. So we're looking for all things productive of the thing that is getting you the highest value for that time that you are going to be spending.
Yep. All right. So this is another favorite of mine. I love all of these questions. They're just so fun. I love just the look on people's faces when you dig to the bottom and make them answer the truth. There are enough hours in the day to complete whatever we need to complete.
And so
no. I've never heard a yes from people.
No. So, but this is why we hack at this from so many different directions, because that is, you might look at it and go, well, that's the same question as before, isn't it? No, not at all. And so you tell me you tell me the difference. Or I'll tell you the difference.
What? Between which 2?
Between those questions, between this one and the one before.
And we manage our calendars, or the productive, focus, and in control?
Productive, focus, and in control.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Because if you're by default, if you're saying that I'm productive, focused, and in control, if you say that, and then I say, are there enough hours in the day to complete everything you need to? And you say no, well, then you're not productive. So it's the validation, right? Because there should be, if you are doing the most effective and productive work for 3 hours a day, you could most likely throw out everything else you're doing because it's relevant. So then you could be both. There could be enough hours in the day. You could have a surplus of hours, and you could be productive, focused, and in control. But people do, that's where it usually checks out for people.
Yeah, it is definitely different. And if you say, you could also mean if you're saying yes to the first. So if you say no to the first, whatever the third question, if you say no to the productive, focused, and in control, then I would assume there's not enough hours in the day. Right. Someone says, oh yeah, there's enough hours in the day. I say, okay, so you hate being here. I'm like, yeah, I want to shut this thing down. At 5 o'clock, I'm out. Yeah, I'm not focused. I'm not in control. It's a chaotic mess. We're keeping the lights on, but I don't want to be here another minute. That is what that's indicative of. But if you said no, and there aren't enough hours, that makes sense. We're probably in alignment. It's when you say yes to the first one and then no to the second one, say, okay, so that's a red flag for us. We said, we got to pump the brakes here and dig at this. Is it because you love what's happening so much? You love it the way it is so much that you just want to be here more? Okay. Versus I love it, but I want more of the outcome. And so there aren't enough hours of the day. Like, I need to run this factory 27 hours a day. So, but why? Well, because I want more money. Why? Because I want this other outcome. Okay. So it isn't a time allocation problem. We have a strategy misalignment. We have a vision misalignment. We need to try to figure out how to get that other thing, because there will never be more hours in the day, or that thing that you're doing that you love it so much, just isn't as efficient as it could be. And you don't yet want to either scale it or make it more efficient because you feel like you're going to lose something. Yeah. And then we look in your processes and we find out that you're the bottleneck on everything, because even though you have 15 people helping you and they all have these different processes, when they come down to your value chain, it all comes to you and then goes back out from you. And sometimes that happens more than once in this line because you just still love it so much. So there aren't enough hours in the day because I love it and I'm the problem and I don't know it. Or subconsciously I do. And then there's that revelation when we have that with some clients and they go, I had no
That's
idea.
not what I wanted to hear.
I have no idea. Okay. So we're not talking about time, are we? We're talking about something else. So that,
I love it. All right, last question. This is a good one
question.
too. We've been touching on this. So chaos and firefighting is rare, but well managed when it occurs. So that turned into a question: is our chaos and firefighting rare and well managed if it occurs?
And so, because the question wouldn't be how much chaos is there, because there might be very good reason for it. I'm in a very chaotic business. What do you do? Well, we're Ghostbusters, so when there are lots of ghosts, it's very chaotic. But by its nature, it's chaotic. But it's very well managed. We know exactly what we're doing. We're not destroying the ballroom at the Sedgwick Hotel, right? Anyway, movie references. Brandon won't get it, but
big Ghostbusters fan over
here. So you might have reason for it. Yeah, my industry just got thrown on its head and it's very chaotic and these are the things with it, but it's a very well managed dynamic. We are by our nature in a chaotic business. It's the most dangerous catch. We're crabbing up in the
Well, I think that's a good example. And also it's in the question, firefighting. Like, if you don't think fighting fires is chaotic, you're crazy. But they have a process and a system for how they attack every single fight. Like, that system is uniform, and so everybody knows they're on the same page. So if you have any degree of chaos or firefighting, if it's not rare, problem. So that's part one, right? And then, but when it does occur, because it will by nature, that's okay. We're not condemning chaos.
Right.
Is it well managed? Do you have a process to approach chaos, which most don't?
Yeah, it's the same thing. If I'm looking at something, we're trying to ensure kitchen safety. Same thing. And I say to the chef, do we have a lot of fires? No, we don't. Okay, great. If I don't ask the next question, which is really what I want to get to, is if there were a fire, do you know what to do? No, we've never had one. How about I know what to do? Oh, shit. This is why we have fire drills. So, because I want to know that you have a system. That's really the question. And just asking, do you have a system? No, I want to know. We don't have them often, but when we do, we know how to handle them. And however you define the first part of that question of the number of them is irrelevant, unless I know first that you have a good system for it. So good. Why are they well managed? Because we put out fires every single day. Well, are we cooking with a lot of oil wildly all over the place? Yeah, we have no idea. Yeah, it's part of the art, man. Okay. And then we get to the why. It's only if it's causing an issue. But that's another, and the reason we ask this here instead of as a process question is because many times people will come and say, I have an issue with time management. And so we have to ask this question here. Well, why? What are you spending your time on? You know, business stuff. Let's pick at that. What do you mean business stuff? Well, every day it's one fire to the next. Am I right? No, not for everybody. So what are we doing here? And then we start picking at it. If we just ask it right up front as a process question, you don't get the actual answer you're looking for. The symptom shows up here in time management.
Yeah. So those are the 5 questions. That's how you build the foundation of your serenity, your time management, air quotes, because without those 5 questions, without the foundation, how could you actually reclaim your time and be a true business owner in 90 days? You can't. So that's why we gave that to you first. But step 2 is on the screen again, or in the show notes down below, whatif.com/clarity, and we'll paint you the picture of that roadmap. Let's start reclaiming our time. Let's make firefighting way more rare, but well managed, and answer all of these other questions and increase them for you. We got to go. We're going to be back next week with another episode. Guess what we're talking about? You're going to love it.
What are we talking about?
Human resources, aka home.
Yes.
We're going to shift the way you think about that dirty word of human resources. Ugh, gross. All right, we'll see you next week.